Welcome back to A&E. Sound you hear in the background, if you can hear it, it's the coolant dripping into a 5-gallon bucket. Now, if you've watched my channel, you know I really don't like draining coolant. The old skin condition doesn't like the coolant. So we had a successful repair on the glow plug today, and I'm really energized, and I'm gonna tackle those double thermostat situation. Yeah. So, as I mentioned previous video, got a couple of error codes pops up. Had my check engine light on, so one of them was the glow plug on cylinder number 5, which is the most difficult one to get to. If you haven't seen that video, you'll want to watch it. The other code was a thermostat code, and the truck takes a long time to warm up. The winter here, we would be down the road an hour and just be getting a little bit of heat out of the heater. So the coolant temperature gauge was almost always on the bottom end. It would slightly come up occasionally. If we're towing for long distances, it would come up a little bit more, but it needs to be like, about middle ways there. And you shouldn't be kicking out some heat, when a guy needs a little heat on his feet. So that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to change those thermostats, gasket, O-rings in the radiator hose, and get it all fixed up. Draining the coolant. And I'm supposed to put your eyes on where we need to get to. And thank goodness this is a deleted truck, because we have plenty of room. Let me show you. Let me show you what we've got to get to. This is the upper radiator hose. That's the return from the engine and the radiator input. Out from the engine into the radiator, and it goes down. This is your turbo pipe that goes to your intercooler. So if you'll see that your black radiator hose turns into a white plastic connection, and it's connected onto a housing. That housing right there is what we have to get off. There's a collar around it. You see the black collar with the bolts in it. We'll take the bolts out. Once we get the radiator hose off, take the bolts out of the collar, pull the housing off. We'll see 2 thermostats, which is what we're going to replace. Your radiator hose is held on by some wire clips. You can kind of see one right there. And up top here, see, there's the other one. It's just kind of a wire clip. They've got O-rings in the hose. You slide it on, and this clip's just kind of a retainer to keep it from sliding back off. We'll take the metal clips out first. Then we'll slide the radiator hose off. Then we'll start working on getting that housing off. Since this is a deleted truck, none of the stuff that's typically right in the way of getting that off is no longer here. So I'm pleasantly surprised to see that should have plenty of room. Anyway, let me get this coolant drained, maybe get that hose off, get you back. Got the top radiator hose off. Couple of tips when you get your clip off here. You're gonna have to put something blunt. Let's see, what I used was a 1/4-inch extension. Don't put a screwdriver against this because you could crack it. That's some kind of plastic composite stuff, so put something blunt up against the end of it and kind of tap it. You know, don't give it everything, just give it about a half of it and just tap it this way to get it started off. And then once it gets started, it just comes right off. Then you can kind of twist it to get the bottom part off. So, got the radiator hose off. There's, let's see, there's either 1 or 2 O-rings in there. I can't really see. There's definitely 2 in there. So I think there's just 1 in here, and I have a new O-ring for it. So next thing is going to be taking off that housing right there. There's only 4 bolts, and then it comes off, and then we'll put a new seal and a couple new thermostats. But I'll show you that once I get it off. Okay, so we got the housing and the thermostats out. The housing, which you saw in the truck, this is the collar. It's, to me, it's easier just to go ahead and take the housing, the collar, and everything out together. Because if you don't, it's a real challenge to get this out first. So, you know, just take them both out together. But right away, I see a couple of problems. Here's the 2 thermostats. You got a low and a high. The low one, turn it right side up. Yeah, looks about the same. With one exception, see this nice rubber seal all the way around the edge of it there that seals everything off? It's all gone except for a little part of it right there. So coolant's been going by there. Okay, let's take a look at this other thermostat here. All right, you see it's a little elevated, and you think, why is it elevated? Because it's bad thermostat. So this one's partially open, stuck, whatever reason, bad. The seal is still there. It's not looking too good, but it is still there. Partially open, probably stuck, seal gone. So bad thermostats. And then there's a seal that goes around the housing here. It wasn't leaking, but don't ever reuse the little gaskets when you're doing something like this. You've spent so much effort and time and skin getting in there to this thing to get it off. Don't buy a kit that just has the thermostats. Most quality kits will come with this seal also. Definitely get the seal. These are just spring loaded, and I'll take it in there and I'll get a couple of screwdrivers and pry these tabs down, twist it, and it pops right out. Same thing with this one. I can almost do this one with my hand. Almost. And on the engine side, let me show you what that looks like, because you know you need to clean that as well, the other surface where this seal is going to be going. Let me show you that. Okay, that's where the housing was. That's what it looks like. It's nice and clean in there. That's really good. You don't want to see any debris, residue, you know, grease, oil, anything like that. But that's really clean, so that's good. Around the surface where our housing is going to go, that's not silicone you see there. That's just where the seal has been sitting you know, all these years. So don't ever use any gasket maker, anything like that on this stuff. You don't need it, and it could do harm if you use too much and it gets over into, you know, that coolant passage and starts, you know, interfering with your thermostats, opening and closing. It could get into little coolant passages that could stop them up, and, you know, don't ever do that. So we're going to clean this surface with a little carb cleaner, get it nice and clean, install a new seal, thermostats, pop it back in, get you back right after that. Got the new thermostats in, the new seal. Was extremely easy. I didn't even need to mess down with screwdrivers. Once I had it in the vise, and put it in the vise gently, you know, don't crank down on the vise to get this so tight. This is aluminum and you will bust it. Then you'll be ordering an expensive part off the interwebs. All right, so got the new seal, I got the new thermostats, looking great. Now, you might say, which way went up, which way went down? All right, here's a clue. This collar only fits one way. If I flip it around, and let's see if you can see here, it's got these little, see these little locator tabs? I'm trying to do this one-handed, but when it's oriented correctly, those little locator tabs fit in the little slot on the housing. If you flip it around, they won't fit that way. They only fit one way. So the distance between the ones at the top and the ones at the bottom is different, is what I'm saying. So on the collar, if you can see that, top and front. So it's going to go in just like this. There's the top, and that is facing the front of the engine. So that's how it goes. I wish I had a couple more hands. I would show putting it in, but it's really straightforward. You got the 4 little bolts. They're going to go in, and then I'm just putting it back. I do have an O-ring kit to replace the O-rings in the radiator hose. That's easy as well. You just take your pick and you fish those old ones out. Now, once you get them fished out, you know, clean all that mess out right there. Don't put new O-rings on top of dirt and grime. Get your O-rings out, clean this out really good. Not the whole hose, just here on the end where your O-rings are gonna go. Make sure there's nothing in the O-ring grooves. Put a little, maybe a little silicone, a little engine assembly lube on it, just to kind of get them seated correctly. And you pop this back on, and you just start putting the stuff back together. Once you do that, start filling it with coolant. I think 5 gallons is the total capacity, and we've drained out at least 4. So I've got like 3.5 jugs. So I may end up having to go get another gallon of coolant. But so don't ever start and run your diesel engines, especially this 6.4, and I'm sure 6.0 and 6.7s, any engine really. But if you don't have the proper level of coolant in this D-gas bottle coolant reservoir, you just hang on, just hold your horses and wait till you get some more coolant, because you need to get this up to level before you think about starting it. And once you start it, especially since we've drained it all out, we're refilling it, keep a very close eye on it. Do not let this run low. If you've seen the botched engine restyle video, you have to deal with some cavitation. Cavitation is apparently enemy number 1 or 2 in these engines. So once I get it all put back together and we start filling it up, we'll do a little topping off, and I'll bring you back in here so you can see that. Okay, I got the water neck, thermostat housing, bolted back on. Now I've got the new O-rings in my radiator hose, or at least the one for the bottom. I'm going to put the one on the top, but I mean, I've got the O-rings in both of them. But what I wanted to show you was these little wire clips that that hold these things in place. Go ahead and put those in, because it's kind of a ramp effect there. You can slide that hose on and it'll open that ring up, and then when you hear it click in place, you know you're in the right spot. So put the clips on first, slide the bottom in first, rotate the hose, tuck it under there, and slide it on that one. When you hear both of them click, you're good. So let's see. Okay, the bottom one snapped in place, no problem. Just keep in mind, there's a notch, smaller notch, notch. There's actually no notch on the back. So make sure when your bottom hose, isn't clicking in and you're pushing, you're giving it all of it, make sure you rotated it to where the notches line up. Ask me how I know that. Let's see if this one slides on. Let's see there. Okay, so my notches lined up, great. And so now we're just gonna get this out of the way, and we're just gonna push it on nice and easy. We're just gonna push it on nice and easy. We're just gonna push it on nice and easy. See, piece of cake, no problem. Okay, so the only thing I'm doing now is topping off. I've put about 3.5 gallons in it, and I don't know if you can, it's kind of hard to see where the level's at. Oh, you can kind of see it right there. So we're like right at the level, here in this range right here. However, it's still gurgling just a little bit, so probably gonna get another gallon of coolant, because I don't have much left in this one. And just let this sit and burp itself, and we'll finish topping it off. I don't know, probably tomorrow, whatever. I'm not in need of the truck right now, so we'll excuse me, we'll check it tomorrow, top it off, and then we'll fire it up and give it a little test drive and see how she warms up. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like the video, thumbs up, subscribe. Have a good day, take care, and God bless.